We'll do this. Thanks for the correct chair. I assume you did that for me, Ken. Thanks. Okay. And I will go put some music on. Now they know there's a chair here. What was that actor that talked to the chair? Clint Eastwood? Was that Clint Eastwood? Yeah. Okay. So, Plu, I apologize for yesterday. The connectivity issues were... No, it was probably they were moving the office. So the marketing office used to be upstairs where I believe the modem and the routers are. And they moved them down. Now they're in that office right there. So there was probably some unplugging and plugging in. And again, beyond my control. But now I know when that happens, they always check and make sure the mute button isn't, because it defaults to mute. So.
What I did when as soon as it froze up, I go turn it off and go back and get back in. So then, I went a couple times.
Yeah, it happened a couple times. Yeah, little technology gremlins.
Yeah. Okay. It's recent, it's recent here. So then I don't.
That's because the Wi-Fi pops off.
I turn it off, I go back out and go back in again. Oh, okay. Good to know. Doesn't even know whether that catch still works. It did come quick. Second time. First time it takes longer, but when I did off and on.
I think it did it 3 times.
I do it all the time. Like Tuesday and Thursday. Actually, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday I do it on Zoom. Lately I've been coming in here. But
Okay, if that music seems too loud, you could, I know, I'm ready. I've already opened it. Bernie, I'm bringing your chair in for you. There we go. Okay. Okay, I've got the music on for the people that are here and present. And apology to Janine. I'm sorry, it was probably some button I didn't push last week to do the sound, so I'm so sorry. But I think we've got it. Looks like we're all queued up, and I do have the chat window open, so let's start standing. Our room here today is a bit on the chilly side. Not if you're an Eskimo, probably. Alaska, they're probably used to this. So welcome to chair yoga, where we practice. We don't have to be perfect. You can stand behind your chair. I'm going to stand to the side so you can see my feet for placement. So I'm standing like a mountain, rooting my feet, engaging my legs, addressing the base of my torso, Mula Bandha, kind of that lifting, the drawing in of lower belly, the lifting of the heart, the relaxation of the shoulders. And just because you lift the heart shouldn't make you tip backwards. So you want to be really upright, not forward, and not hips. So we have patterns. We just try and correct them when we come to samastiti. We come to be present. Fingers reach to the earth, crown of the head toward the sky, the eyes lower or close, and you just notice your breath. If when you lower your eyes you feel a little wobbly, feel free to hold on to your chair. So I'm just breathing through my nose as it's available, taking in how my body feels at this moment, not being concerned with how well or how poorly I do with my poses, just accepting the poses and trying to do them mindfully, attentively, and with breath. Give yourself 2 more breaths. Step away from what you are doing in the past and what you will be doing in the future and be right here, right now. Next breath in, as you open your eyes, stretch your arms to the sides of your space. Reach through the tips of the fingers, relax through the neck and the shoulders. Stay strong through your bandhas, and with your next breath in as available, raise the arms. If this is difficult for the shoulders, go as far as you feel you can. Some of you might reach all the way up and lift the chest a little bit. So just here we are, being thankful for this day, for this moment. We join the palms together and place the hands at heart, and with a slight bow of the head, we cultivate the attitude of gratitude. So I have gratitude for your presence and your attention. We all find our gratitude in maybe small ways, but it's there. And then I'll just let my hands wiggle in the fingers. And from the fingers, I'll add a little bit of movement through my wrist. A little one way, and a little the other way. And then I'll rub my hands together. As I said, this room here is a bit on the chilly side. And then I'm going to stand with my feet apart. Remember, you're behind your chair, so you can put your hands on the chair. And for this one, we're going to turn our toes a little outward. Doesn't have to be way out, just a little bit so. And careful you don't bump your knees. So here's me holding the chair as if I were here so that you can see me. I'm going to breathe in when I go to your right and breathe out when I go to your left. Breathing in and breathing out. Shifting my body weight from foot to foot. This should not bother your knees, so make sure it's tracking well. Now release your left arm. And that left arm, when you go to the right, will also go to the right. So when you breathe in, and then let it come around in front. Now, if you don't feel you need the chair at this moment, go ahead, let the other arm stretch out to the side. And we're just moving from side to side, breathing in and the arm comes up, breathing out and the arm goes over. Some of you remember this is our, when it gets cold outside, warm up move, a little bit of dynamic yoga. Now the next one, you may want to hold the chair, so I'm going to lift up the leg. And then if you don't need the chair, it's a little more challenging, but it's just a little bit of lift of the left leg. So the arm goes up, the leg goes up, you breathe in, you land and breathe out. Finding a little bit of control, waking up the core, waking up our hips. Again, if you need the chair, just hold on to the back of the chair. It's right there for you. And this will be my last one. Bring the arms in front of the chair and just push the arms in front like you're moving air molecules. And then pause. Breathe in when you go to your left and breathe out when you go to your right. Again, behind the chair. It could look like this, or you may want to hold on to the chair with your left hand. Using your right hand up and around, breathing out. Inhale, exhale. Finding the range of motion appropriate for you today. Nothing should bark back at you, your knees, your back, your hips. So when I move to the balance, if that makes you feel uncomfortable, hold on to the chair. So when you lift up, you have a little bit of support. If you don't need that chair, challenge yourself and don't use your chair. Couple more. Last one. Hold the feet down, let the arms move, and the feet will move together. And come behind your chair and stand like a mountain. Notice how you've changed your body. A little more warmth. Up, she takes off her coat. A little more warmth. A little more awareness in your core. A little more waking up of the hips. Yeah. So come to the right side of your chair. You just need the one hand. You can do both. So we're going to go into a little bit for the calves. My feet are hip distance apart. Let me turn sideways. This is not as I normally do. Really put my foot back. I'll bend the knees. I'll tip forward. I'll pick a leg. It just goes to where it goes. And then I drop the heel. Then I'll either have my hands here or maybe one hand on the chair, or if I wanted my arms in front. So standing on your left leg, because you might need the chair, or put your hands on your hips. We bend both knees just a smidge, Keep the chest lifted as you lean forward. Outside leg, or your right leg, will just step back, and if that makes you feel wobbly, use the chair. From here, drop the back heel. Visualize your toes all going forward, because there's a tendency of the back heel to turn in. Draw in through your belly. So you can keep one hand on the chair, you can put both hands on your hips, you can release the arms, and a little more challenging is to reach the arms forward, which puts a load in the back. So visualize a beautiful diagonal line from the heel up the torso through the crown of the head. And I breathe. Mindfully return the hands to the hips or on the chair and step up. Walk around so we can do the other side. I go to the other side because I don't want to mix up my feet with the chair. That might not go well. So I can have a hand on a chair or both hands on my hips. As my feet are parallel, I bend the knees just a little. I lean my chest forward a little. I let my outside leg or your left leg just touch back, so it doesn't have to slide. Usually I take this leg further back, but I'm just going into my calf, sinking my heel down, lifting my spine up through the crown of the head. Hold on, or reach the arms forward. So feel grounded in your legs, even though it's a bit challenging balance-wise. Draw upon the breath and the sensations of ease and grace. Return the hands to either the chair or your side and step up. Open your feet and feel free to hide behind your chair as we draw circles with the hips. Makes the back feel a little better. Go the other way. Nice. And I'll move into some chair cat-cow. So I'm going to go to the side of my chair. You can face whatever you want. You can do the back of the chair. When I bend my knees, I place my hands on the seat of the chair. Not a whole lot of weight, but the lineup is shoulder over hand. If you feel that's a bit far for you, approach your chair from the back, and your shoulders will not be over your hands in that case. Some people do this on the floor. I just want to show you don't have to do it on the floor. You can do cats and cows even on your thighs. But since we have a chair here, let's do it from here. So I'm going to use this seat of the chair, shift my weight, anchor my shoulders. Oh, gravity is pulling my belly down. Now, if you're taller, you may need to bend your knees to be lined up. But if you can make your legs straight, feel free. Breathing out, I bow my head, bend my knees, drop my tailbone, and pull my belly button way, way up. When I breathe in, I stick my tailbone up, I bring my heart forward and breathe in. Breathing out, rounding. So for those of us with osteoporosis, not over pushing, just gently breathing in, breathing out, rounding my back and arching my back. So the cat pose, perfect for Halloween, is an opportunity to really engage transversus abdominis, so an upside down sit-up. When you come to your cow pose, stay there so that you're looking outward. From wherever you are, the seat or the back of the chair, transfer your hands to your thigh. Feel the weight shift back in your legs. Straighten your arms, but keep your knees bent. We move to Uttanasana. The arms can extend forward for those with back issues or shoulder issues, or you can raise the arms above. So I am like a chair, aren't I? Actually, I'm a throne. So I root into the earth. I find my breath. I feel the strength of my legs and no pain. So nothing should hurt your back, your shoulders, your knees. Accommodate in variations if need be. From here, I go to a body weave. So I carefully drop my arms, push my hips forward, let the arms come from behind as they gently come over the top, joining the palms together and bringing the hands down into my heart. So let's go one more round of cats and cows and we'll come back out and we'll meet right here. So hands back down, breathing out, do the cat, breathing in, do the cow, Remember, you can still do cats and cows without it being really, really, really bent or really, really, really arched. If the hands don't like the weight at the wrist, you can move to knuckles. Stay in your cow pose next time you get there. Shift your weight back and find chair pose. So be mindful in your placement of weight into the feet, alignment of the arms as it's best for you. Be invested in your breath. We drop the arms, let the hips move forward, the hands come from behind. As you breathe in, join the palms together. And as you breathe out, bring the hands into the heart. So let's do a standing balance called simple 3-point. Come to the right side of the chair, and we'll do it twice, one in the more simplified form for those of you who are feeling a little wobbly today, and one in the more challenging. So standing here, you will have this chair. So the outside leg, also known as your right leg, will bend. The leg you're standing on, your left leg, the one closest to the chair, roots down, as there sometimes is a tendency for gravity to sink. So feel yourself pulling up, support yourself, and this is option 1. My toe is on the floor. The right leg in front means the right arm goes in front. Left arm can stay on the chair, or you can lift it up. With the toe on the floor, one more element to be had is looking down at that left arm. And you breathe. And you may feel yourself moving around. Last week we talked about sway, so that's happening. If you did look to the side, look forward. As you exhale, come back and stand like a mountain. And notice the sensation of calm that comes to you. Second time, I'll give you the option of lifting the foot. When I lift this foot, just so to be clear, I'm not letting my foot just dangle. I'm flexing the foot so it has action dynamics in it. So I bend the right knee, move the toe forward. If you're holding the chair, you can hold the chair. I'm going to lift up the right leg and reach the right arm over. Now the left hand either is lightly on the back of the chair or off the back of the chair. And then for those of you looking for a little bit more, and it might knock you off your foot, you can look down your left arm and you breathe. Stand like a mountain. Delight in the calm. Mindfully walk to the other side. Any questions as we go to the other side? So just a note that sometimes when the knee goes forward, if you lift the leg up, in order to make that better, people lean back. So be careful you aren't leaning back and I'm exaggerating. So let's do option 1. Rooted, I stand like a mountain. Bending the outside leg, putting the hand on the back of the chair. Left arm over left leg. Now you can keep that hand lightly on the chair or lift it up, pull up, pull up, pull up. And then that next element with your toe still on the floor is to look down the right arm. And as you turn, you may right away feel. Now some of you have your, let's come back center because I see many people I need to correct. Come back to mountain pose for a moment, sorry. When I bend my knee, I move my toe forward a little. So that if I did the next step, it would be lifting my foot. What I saw is you lifted your heel, but your toe was next to the standing leg. So let's go at it again. Mountain pose, bend the knee, move the toe forward, now that I'm clear. Arm over leg, pull up, hand on chair or off chair. And then you may find when you look, ooh, that's where things get a little fun. And you breathe. Shoulders are down, no tension in the neck and shoulders as you breathe. Return center and stand like a mountain. You may notice that your back is working, yeah? Feet are working, breath is something you have to stay focused on. Second option, should you partake. Left knee bends, toe goes forward, And if appropriate, lift the leg, same arm over that lifted leg if you've lifted it or touched. Hand on chair or off chair. And then if you feel that you're ready, turn your head. Keep pulling up. Active foot if you've lifted. Focus on breath. Return to Tadasana, and let's all take a seat. When you sit, you don't plop, you sit nice and easy. Good. And we're going to draw our legs together, feet and knees together, and we're going to sit and spin. Scoot forward on the seat of the chair so your feet are grounded. You don't need the back of the chair. So I'm going to bring my body to side, to front, to side, and to back. So this is just the opposite of what we do when we're standing, when we move the pelvis around. Go the other way. And I want to go right into a little bit of hamstring opening, and we'll prepare for some future poses. Separate those feet. Let the right leg extend straight. If the leg doesn't go straight, scoot forward on the chair more. So my toe is up, my chest is lifted. I'm going to grab the back of the chair just to get me nice and tall because I enjoy this feeling of expanding through my chest, lifting through my spine, and maintaining this when I go into a forward fold. I'm going to be doing a lot of forward folds today to open those hamstrings. Right now you're seated, so my hips and my chest are like headlights, my high beams and my low beams. When I lean forward, because I'm seated, my left hip is not going to spin back, so I will be limited how far I go forward. I want you to notice and pay attention to the sensation of your hips, because when we stand up and do this, your hips are going to look for a workaround, and that's usually what happens. So, keeping the chest lifted, lightly place the hands on the lap, and let the heart go forward. Visualize those headlights, as I mentioned, and then your gaze will go out beyond the extended foot. Now, some of you may lay easily down on your thigh, and some of you not so far. You want to be feeling the back of the leg rather than your back. Lengthen your spine and breathe. Then I'm going to lift the chest, push on my hands, and from here I'm going to show you our option, which we'll be getting to. Both hands come behind and the palms are stacked open. Option one. Or grab in until you grab your elbows. There's one on each side. So you can either have the hands together, and then some people, not so much me, are able to do the hands in reverse namaste, if that's something that is available to you, any of those three options. And for this one, not going forward, but kind of leaning back. And when I say lean back, I'm not really saying lean back. I'm saying lift your chest as if someone is holding behind your back, and lift your chest. Now, you don't have to look up if that makes you feel dizzy. You can look more outward, but feel the sensation of a string on your heart lifting you up. Leave the hands behind, let the heart lead forward, Uttanasana again. Square your shoulders, square your hips. Now, if you feel your back pushing into your arms, don't let that happen. Keep that natural curve in your spine. This might feel different than when you did it before. Lift the chest, and one more time, with hands behind and any of those options I showed you, lift the chest. So it could be just a little back bend. Some of you might actually do more bending. When you release center, let go of the arms and draw that right leg in. Pause. The other leg. So left leg extended, hands go behind. Bring yourself into nice lengthening of the spine. Keep that sensation as the hands are on your lap, and we do the first forward fold supported. So my hands are on my legs, I square my shoulders, my hips aren't going anywhere. I lengthen. If I stood in front of you, you'd get the sensation I was grabbing you by your shoulders and drawing you outward rather than downward. Look beyond your extended foot, which is not rolling out, it's staying up. Push on your hands, lift up your chest rather than rolling. Draw yourself up. Place the hands behind the back in one of those options, I understand. I've unlocked the door. So palms or elbows or hands in reverse namaste. Lift the heart. You'll feel the curve in the small of the back a little bit. Looking up or not looking up. Let the heart lead forward. Keep that curve. Don't let it bend. Uttanasana. Lift the heart one more time. Release the arms and draw your leg back. So we've prepared the back of the leg and a little bit for the back. Blood pressure good on everyone? Let's stand up and come to the side of the chair. I'm going to work from the seat of the chair. That might be too far for you. Those of you who are here, if you want to use the seat of the chair, but it's a little too far in the back corner, we do have yoga blocks, so you could put yoga blocks there. Or, because you have a chair, you could stand behind the chair and do the same thing. So this is the standing in a straddle, and we'll do that little back bend thing, and we'll do that little forward thing. If you were doing it from the side of the chair, you would probably not hold the chair if you didn't have to. You would do the extension thing, and then you would go forward. Now, at the seat of the chair, you see I go much further forward. That could affect my blood pressure. Anyone got a guide for me on how far apart my legs should be? Anyone got a suggestion? Well, there's rules in yoga. So some of the rules in yoga, they tell you how many feet. So they say a 4-foot stance, but that's great for Ken, maybe, but not so great for me. I'm smaller. So I don't really follow those rules. Here's my guideline for those who have the mobility in the hips. I put my feet apart. I put my arms out and point my fingers down. And then somewhere below my fingers should be my feet. So you see, this is too shallow, and truly, this is too wide. So you want to get yourself a big, solid base. So once you figure out where you want to have your feet, you'll come to the chair side or the chair back, and you'll take those feet apart. Open and point. What about Mula Bandha? Well, that's pretty important. Energy falling out if you don't hold it up. Hand on chair if you want to, hand on back or 2 hands on back. So without letting my hips thrust forward, unless I consciously move them, I breathe in and lift my chest. And as I breathe out, I lean forward and I use the chair back or the chair seat. I lean into my toes and I lower myself down. So I stay in that forward fold. Make sure your feet are parallel. Some of you have your toes outward a little bit. So it doesn't matter if you're at the seat of the chair or the back of the chair. Feel that your sit bones are spreading up there at the top of your legs. Imagine a pillow as you squeeze the pillow and rise all the way up. Thumbs come to your back, or one hand on your back and one hand on your chair. So if you're facing the side of the chair, use the leg toward the back of the chair. It could be your left or your right. Whichever one is toward the back of the chair, turn it. If you're at the back of the chair, pick a leg, it doesn't matter which one, and turn it as we move into our warrior position. The back leg will slightly skew in. If I were this way, I'll just do this leg. So there's the back of the chair, my toe is pointing away from you all, and I turn the front leg in. Now I have a chair in front of me, be it the seat of the chair or the back of the chair, right? Yes? Everybody has a chair in front of them? Okay, so as I bend the knee that has turned out, I'm going to look at it and make sure this knee comes over the ankle, not behind and not beyond. Now this might be wider than you normally do because I've set your feet wider. Once you have that, take the hand of the leg behind you and put it on your shoulder. Pull that shoulder back so you're facing your chair, either the seat of the chair or if you were here, the back of the chair. Now, as it feels comfortable, you're going to let go of the hand on the chair and move it down onto your thigh. If that makes you feel uncomfortable, take the other hand off your shoulder and put it back to the chair. So now I have the bent knee arm on the leg and the other hand on the chair or up to my shoulder. Consider, for you, coming onto your forearm. If you say, oh, that feels a bit much, stay on your hand. Keep the knee. As you're able, reach the arm out, or if that makes you feel wobbly, just look off that back shoulder of the straight leg. So you might be here, or you might be here. Side angle pose said, for those who can, raise the arm up as it comes towards your ear, not to block your face. And now I have a side angle. If I were here and I had my thigh, I would either be this way, or this way, or this way. Reach back, look forward. What pose is this? Warrior two. Yeah, so my body is facing the chair. My eyes are looking over the front arm and the front knee over my ankle, yelling at me. Straighten the front leg, turn your toes forward, holding either the back of the chair, or for those of you from the side, we're here. Other side, don't have to move, just going to do the other side. So if you're facing the side of the chair, the leg away from the back of the chair turns, the leg by the back of the chair slightly veers in. For those of you behind the chair, the other leg, up to you to figure out which one that is, turns, and the back foot slightly angles in. I bend this front knee mindfully. I look at it. I carefully align it because it has a tendency to buckle in, not so good for the knee. So I've got that knee held open, and then I will rest on that hand that's on the front leg. Now I can use the other hand to pull my shoulder back, and then if I felt like once I got there I needed the chair, I could put my hand back. I could reach my arm out. I could lift my arm up, and if I wanted to go further down onto my forearm, I could go into side angle pose from here. If you were facing the side of the chair, you would go through those same orientations, finding the best for you. So you're feeling stable, you're not covering your face, the top arm is as straight as it can be if you're using that arm at all. So if you're not, you're holding onto the chair, but your body is opening and you're looking back. Find a breath or two. Keep the front knee bent. As you stand up, stretch the arm out. Release the other arm, or if you came from here, it goes back. We're in warrior two. Look off the front arm. Reach back with the other arm, or if it feels better, hold on to your chair. Straighten the front leg. Turn the toes forward. Walk your feet in. Do you feel like you've done something? All right, moving on to the triangle pose. So this stays with opening the hamstring and also ties in with what we did seated. So this is where I stand one foot forward of the other foot. When I do this, you'll say, I remember this. Now, if you say, I can't go this far forward and keep my back neutral, then you're going to be the person who uses the back of the chair, because it doesn't matter. When you get here, you just go as far as you can this way. This is where it's important to get your headlights pointing toward the floor. Remember when I said you were sitting in the chair, your hips were anchored, so they didn't turn. Now you have to be responsible for them. So high beams, low beams, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. I would say like 1.5 feet. So if I were here, here's 1 foot distance. There's 2 feet. I've got 2 feet, and I'm not one behind the other. I came at it with my feet hip distance. I went forward and forward. It's still kind of wobbly, and both legs are straight. So I'm on the planks of wood, and my feet are on different planks, for those of you. Back foot will tend to turn in. Yeah. So pause here and get Get balance between both feet, the pyramid pose. Always use the chair to support you. Be mindfully lifting and keep that natural curve in the spine. So I don't want to round over. I want to stay lifted, and here are my headlights. So as I lean forward, maybe take the back of the chair and bring that chest forward. Both legs are straight. Keep weight on the back leg. At some point, the back of your front leg will say, that's enough, and you listen to yourself. If you're approaching from the side, you still use the back of the chair as you go forward. If the seat of the chair is available, you continue. As I look at you, I'm looking to see that your hips, both legs are straight, and you have a neutral spine. So there is no roundedness, and you're feeling grounded. And the back of the front leg is saying good morning to you too. Imagine you're squeezing your legs, lift your chest, use the chair back to help you as you rise up, one hand behind the back. But if you feel stable, two hands behind the back, or grab the elbows, or hands in reverse namaste. If you feel unsteady, please use the chair, one hand on the chair. Lifting your heart, open up. Going forward, one more into pyramid pose. Now if you can, leave your hands behind, but if that freaks you out, bring your hand or hands forward. Both hips pointing down. Remember that back leg is going to try and open your hips. Don't let it happen. Keep weight on your back leg. Lead with the heart, not with the head. Connect with your breath. Squeeze the legs, lift the spine. When you come up, you can do one more back bend or you can just wait. Maybe you say, I don't want to do another back bend, so you just wait. Maybe you say, I want to lift my chest and do one more back bend. When you release, you'll let your arms come out and you'll step together. Let's come up toward the chair back or the side, either way. Bend your knees and fold your arms, and then just hang forward a little bit. So if I were behind the chair, I'd just be hanging over like this. Just enough to give a little respite to the back. I've been asking it to do a bit of work. Grab the chair and draw yourself up, and we do the other side. So whichever foot was in front, now you want it to step back. So here's me measuring my feet. There's 1 foot distance from the heel of the front foot to the heel of the back foot. Now I put my toe where that heel was and step back, and that gives me a 2-foot separation. Some people do more, some people do less. Remember that back foot should not turn in, though it's going to want to. Now as you're able, let go of your chair and put your hands on your hips, because we're monitoring our headlights. Front leg and back leg are straight. When you go forward, keep some weight on the back leg, though all the weight wants to go to the front leg. I get that. So we lean forward. At some point, you're going to want the back of the chair with 2 hands if you have the back, or the side, 1. And you slowly begin leaning the heart forward. Pull that back hip forward because it's going to try and open out. Weight on the back leg. You bend the elbows to allow the body to move more towards your thigh. Good. And as I look around the room, you're looking outward past the seat of the chair rather than downward. So you're creating a hinge rather than a roundedness. Back foot is parallel, not turned out. And you feel the back of the front leg. Yes? Yes. May we. But of course. Engage your core. Use the chair as you lift the chest. So I'm not rolling up, I'm lifting my chest. This is back work, coming all the way up, positioning 1 or 2 hands behind, stacking the fingers, grabbing the elbows, reverse namaste. Keep 1 hand if you want. Lift the chest, create a little bit of a back bend. And we go forward 1 more time. So if you have your hands behind and you're feeling steady, go ahead and let the chest and hips move forward in bind. So that may be too freaky. You may say, I'm better with my arms in front. So if that's better, then use that variation. 2 breaths. Feel the strength through the legs, lift through the heart, steady yourself with the chair as you rise up. Step together and sit sideways on your chair. So I'm going to sit on this side because then I have a mirror view of my in-person participants. But you want to sit so there's no chair back behind you. Yeah. So this one is like driving my car. So as I'm sitting on the side, the back of my chair will be my steering wheel. This is rotation. Of all the times we've spent together, what's the one thing I always impart with you when you're doing a twist? You should remember to, crickets. You should remember to lift your spine. So remember me telling you there are vertebra and disc, and if you're compressed and then you twist, you're kind of grinding in your spine. So before you rotate, I always advocate for lifting to create space. That sound familiar? Yeah, we can only keep so much stuff in our head. We do the best we can. So the back of the chair is going to be your steering wheel. Whichever arm is closest to it, raise it up, and every chair is a little different, and slide it as best you can over the top. Now the legs are going to stay steady because when you turn, the leg closest to the back of the chair is going to try and pull back. Hold them steady. So I'm going to turn to face the back of the chair. My free hand will grab the edge closest. The hand going over the top will grab the other side, and I'll get really tall. So I really haven't affected any twisting yet. I'm just nice and tall, and I'm holding on to my steering wheel. Relax the shoulders. Now use the chair pushing and pulling. You'll figure it out. Don't let the legs move, and slowly turn and look behind you. So there's a use of the hands on the chair. One hand pushes, one pulls. Yeah, it's like driving on a steering wheel. Yeah, don't let those hips shift. Those knees ought to be relatively even. Keep getting taller. As you unspiral, bring that back hand around. Move your knees together. Lay your body out onto your thighs. So we're going to go away from the back of the chair. The arm toward the back of the chair is going to come in front. So the arm toward the back of the chair comes over your legs in front. I'm doing a twist the other way. Do you see how your knees are side by side? Say yes. Okay, so they're going to stay like that. The hand that's reached across is going to reach toward the floor as it feels it can. Not everybody can, so if this doesn't happen for you, bring that hand back up and just lay it across your thigh. This is a fair option. If you can get to this one, you might be ready. If not, bring the forearm back over your 2 thighs. Now, the top arm, the arm by the outside of the chair, is going to travel across the floor and up the wall away from you, and along the ceiling, and as the bottom shoulder goes forward and the top shoulder goes back, you open up. If that feels like too much, bring that top arm back on your thigh and modify. Now generally we look at the high hand depending on how your neck feels. Bring the high hand down the ceiling, down the wall, across the floor, put both hands on your thighs, bow your head, and gently roll yourself up. Oi. Okay, I'm going to walk around and go to the other side, and I will take you down that same path. So I refer to the back of the chair arm. Get nice and tall and place the arm that's closest to the back of the chair up, and then slide it over the top just a little. So now I've come into good upright alignment. Now your hand away from the back of the chair toward the front of the chair is going to slowly turn, and you'll grab that closest edge of the chair. Maybe the other hand slides off to the other side. Try not to go too far, too fast, too soon. Simply look over the back of the chair. Most of you here will be looking into the mirror right behind you. And you should visualize this sensation of lifting. Now for those who want a little bit more, leave your knees equal, use the hands to push and pull, and look a little further behind you. Every breath in, you go up. Every breath out, you turn. Good, keep going, I'll be right back. Yeah. Scoot forward on your chair. Scoot forward, yeah. Scoot out this way. There you go, now see if you can do better. Now turn. One breath in, and on your exhale, you're slowly going to rotate back until you're sitting at the edge of the chair. And once you're back here, you're going to draw those knees together, and they're going to stay side by side, just like the song. Heart goes forward to lay outward. The arm toward the back of the chair, so it's going to feel like you're doing the other side, comes across both knees, pointing toward the floor. So my back shoulder is coming across my front leg. Those knees are going to try and help you. Don't let those hips shift. If this doesn't feel comfortable, let the forearm rest on the two thighs. Fair option. Once you've figured out how you're going to position the bottom arm, release your top arm to the floor and watch it as it travels outward and then upward. And as that bottom shoulder goes forward with the help of that arm wedged against your leg, the top arm goes back. If this doesn't feel good, take the arm up on your thigh and create your rotation this way. We generally look up, but if that makes your neck feel cranky, don't do it. Good time to breathe. Watch the high hand as it travels down from the sky, down across the horizon, across the floor. Both hands come to the thigh, bow the head, and roll yourself up. Oh, oh. And then come and sit forward. Just a little bit for the hips. We're going to do a standing hip opener. This is the one you can do at the QFC. Because it's kind of hard to do this one at the QFC or a pigeon pose at the QFC. You remember the pigeon pose, I've had you do this one before. Yeah, you can't do this at the QFC. What you can do at the QFC is stand up, bend both knees, move a hip on one side out. So one knee is bent, the other knee is bent, and your hip is pushing out. And this is what you want to feel. And then you can do your talking at the QFC. So like, Bernie, how are things going? People won't think you're funny looking. So what you're doing is taking the bones and shoving them into the muscles. Coming back up, go the other way. Bend both knees. Shift the hip out. Sometimes one hip needs a little more than the other, you may find. And return center. Depending on if you walked away from the chair, make sure it's there. And then sit yourself down and get ready for Shavasana, because our time has come to a close where you can either rest on your forearms and your head dropped. You can rest into the back of the chair with your legs relaxed. At home, you can always lay down. And if you feel chilly in here and you want to put your jacket back on, you can do that. So now we do nothing. For some people, the favorite part of their yoga practice is Shavasana. In fact, they've made t-shirts that says, "My favorite pose is Shavasana." But for some of us, this is a challenging pose, because when we sit quiet and still, the mind becomes chatty. So this is our practice to try and keep that pushed away and just be present. Perhaps you stay with your breath. Perhaps you relax the body, every body part that you encounter in your mind's eye. Wait for the singing bowl and let this time be yours. The singing bell invites you to deepen the breath and to wiggle your fingers and toes, awakening the body, remaining in that calm, kind of mellow place that you may have found even for such a short time. So my thought today comes from Tennessee Williams, who said, "We're all of us guinea pigs in this laboratory of God. Humanity is just a work in progress. If there's a plan to things, why do we seem to be in such a mess? Wars, disease, famine, environmental damage, poverty, the list goes on and on. Surely we can do better. If we think of ourselves and all of humanity as a work in progress, we might be more forgiving of others and more helpful of what will come in the future, and more hopeful of what will come in the future." So our thought for today, the idea that human beings can improve individually and globally, cheers me. And so with that said, bring yourself to a seated position. And so we have this one last moment to open our arms, open our heart, fill ourselves with all the positivity we can find, push away the negativity, the stresses, bring the hands into the heart. And as we've always said, the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you, guys. Yes. And I'm not here next week, or the next week, or the next week. So thank you for attending, you guys, Janine and Laura and Sarma, maybe Tom. So we'll see you when we see you. Have a good winter. Happy holidays. Happy New Year.